Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nat. Today we're checking out some things from Unearthly Cosmetics. These collections came out during fall of last year, and I'm so happy to finally be trying them out. This is the Gothic Romance eyeshadow palette and blush palette, and here we have the Dead Cute eyeshadow palette and blush quad. Chronologically, these guys came out first, and honestly, I was so silly. I couldn't decide on the eyeshadow palette, and I ended up waiting too long, because when I finally decided that I really wanted this blush palette, it was sold out on ifeelbeautiful.ca. I discovered that I really wanted to try out the shades of this blush palette, and I honestly couldn't stop thinking about this color story. Does that ever happen to you guys? So then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to order directly from the Unearthly Cosmetics website, which is what I did. And on their website, the eyeshadow palette retails for $95 Canadian. And currently, on the day that I'm filming, this blush palette is on sale for $45 Canadian, but the regular price is $56 Canadian. Well, upon arrival, I had to pay about $70 in duties. So now, if I'm interested in a palette and ifeelbeautiful.ca carries it, I'm going to think twice before I decide to sleep on it. If it's within my means, of course. Just a quick mention that both of these collections came out with lip products, I'm pretty sure. But again, I'm silly. I passed on those. And now I realize there's one shade of the lipsticks that go with this collection that I actually really like. But it's okay. I have tons of lip products, so I'm good. Okay, so now we have the Dead Cute eyeshadow palette and blush quad. And when ifeelbeautiful.ca stocked them, the eyeshadow palette actually sold out, I think within a day. I saw that they were finally available, but it happened to be my birthday, so I waited until the day after it, and by then the eyeshadow palette had already sold out. But I knew that I wanted the blush quad, so I picked that up first. And then thankfully, ifeelbeautiful.ca restocked the eyeshadow palette. This palette retails for $84 Canadian on ifeelbeautiful.ca's website, and I believe it's sold out on Unearthly Cosmetics website. And then the blush quad is $35 Canadian on ifeelbeautiful.ca's website, but it's currently sold out. But on Unearthly Cosmetics website, this quad is currently on sale for $26 Canadian. Back to the Gothic Romance palette. Romantic meets Gothic. 4 rows of lilacs, cool browns, rusty shades, and pinks, each complemented with its sparkly special shade. This is what the palette looks like. Let's swatch it. First up, we have Ghostly Whisper. A nice bright white matte. Moonlit Vow. Lovelorn. Nocturne. Twilight Waltz. Ooh, so pretty. Grave Bloom. Ooh. Look at this. This shade kind of reminds me of the Jabberwocky shade from the Underland palette by Ensley Rain. If I remember correctly. Chapel Doors. Nice rich matte brown. Ashen Moss. Antique Frame. Dust of Time. This one is a matte with a bit of shimmer inside, or glitter, sparkle. Casket Wood. These mattes are incredible. Heart's Flame. Wilted Rose. Flesh and Bone. Golden Veil. Oh wow, look at this one. Ethereal Light. I've kind of run out of room on my arm, but the next shade is Blushing Apparition. I'm going to stick that up here. Then we have Tainted Love. Blood Oath. Oh, that's pretty. And Crimson Devotion. Does this work? Here are the shades of the Gothic Romance palette and different lighting. Look at those special shades. Now onto the blush palette. This is what it looks like. Let's watch this too. First up, we have Buried Letters. A nice nude. You guys know I love a nude blush. Covenant. Another nude-ish. This shade almost looks like a bronzer. How cool. Faint Memory. Blood Oath. Ooh. Phantom Orchid. Wow. And lastly, we have Seance Flame. Here are the shades from the blush palette and different lighting. Now onto the Dead Cute eyeshadow palette. Look at this super fun color story. Let's watch it. First up, we have Cryptic Cutie. Look at how pigmented that is. Just gorgeous. Blueberry. That's so cute. My son has a pair of blueberry Crocs. So vibrant. Slime Time. Ghosty Glow. Toxic Doll. Wow. Spoiled Sparkle. Haunted Plushie. Look at that. Dollhouse Doom. Psycho Sweetie. Look at this. Porcelain Bruise. Killer Kawaii. Coffin Candy. Oh, look at this bright pink. You guys know I love pink. Skeletal Sparkle. You guys see the shift? Cursed Halo. Batty Baby. Ooh. Ghoul Scout. What a vibrant blue. Ash Baby. And lastly, we have Glitter Gloom. Here are the shades of the Dead Cute palette and different lighting. Now onto the blush quad. Look at how cute this is. I love the heart-shaped pans. Okay, so those eyeshadows were so pigmented that even after cleaning, it's left my hand kind of colored. So let's swatch these blushes on the palm of my hand. First up, we have Sugar Shock. Lollipopette. Can you guys see that? It's a nice purple shade. Toffee Tart. Ooh, that's an interesting shade. And Strawberry Scream. Here are the shades of the Dead Cute Blush Quad and different lighting. Pretty, right? Before we get started, I just wanted to share with you guys that I'm testing out a new eyeshadow primer. These are the Lock-In Bases by DEDE'S Signature, and I have this one on my eyes. It is in the shade Honey Hold. The white one is called Ivory Grip, and the black one is Onyx Lock. I purchased these ones from her website, and they retail for $18 Canadian each. I'm going to do a total of 4 looks today, 2 with each palette, and 1 on each side so we can also pair it with a blush. For look number 1, let's start off with Antique Frame and Eyeshadow 03. So with this shade, I just want to keep it to the outside corner because my plan is to do something green going to purple. And I just want to have this shade right at the outside corner, like where my brow bone is. Just like that for now. Now let's take Ashen Moss on a Rephr 01. And let's just plop some on the outer corner. That's so pigmented, hey? Cool. And blend it up into the brow bone crease area. I'm just gently taking this further towards the center. And back to the Eyeshadow 03 with no added pigment so we can soften out the edge. Now let's take Moonlit Vow on a Rephr 02 and start in the inner corner. And we're just gently blending it up. Let's dip into Lovelorn and just a flat shader brush. And this one, I just want to fill in this empty space. So let's pat some right at the lash line. And I'm just using small patting motions. So just as a matte look, I know this doesn't really look like it goes together, but I'm laying down these mattes because I want to use those 2 shimmers. And I feel like it has some green and purples in them, so let's see if this works out. Back to the Rephr 01 with no added pigment, and I'm just patting in this edge. This patting motion gives a gentle blend, so there's not a hard line. And actually, I changed my mind. I added some more pigment. This is the Ashen Moss shade. And I'm just pushing in a little bit more of this green pigment closest to my lash line. Now taking the Rephr 02 with a bit more of Moonlit Vow. So we can blend these 2 shades together. Alright, let's leave this for now. We might need to make some adjustments after we add the shimmer. The first shimmer we're going to use is Grave Bloom. This one. Just going in with my finger. Let's put that at the 3rd of the eye. Moving towards the center. And for the inner third, let's try Twilight Waltz. Going in with my index finger. Let's just plop that right here in the inner third. Ooh, look at that. These two shimmers go well together, don't you guys think? Now I'm just blending these two shimmers together. Back to the Rephr 02 with a bit more of Moonlit Vow, just so we can bring back that shade and blend in where the shimmer starts. Rephr 01 with Ashen Moss, just to re-intensify the outer corner. And same thing, blend in where the shimmer starts. I think I want to see if we can get this outer corner just a tiny bit deeper. So let's try Chapel Doors with a Shoto 00. And I'm just going to tap in some pigment. Gentle blend. Yes, kind of like that. Shoto 03 with a bit more of the Antique Frame shade, just to soften out the edge. Now for the lower lash line, let's go in with the shade Ashen Moss and a 210 from BK Beauty. Let's just plop some in the corner. As usual, I've done the rest of my face off camera, this side anyway. Flat shader brush with the Lovelorn shade. That mid-tone purple. Mid-tone lavender lilac. And Rephr 02 with Lovelorn. That first pastel purple. You know what? Let's add Ghostly Whisper with another flat shader brush, just as an underbrow highlight. And let's add some to the inner corner, the very inner corner. This is just a 207 from BK Beauty. I've dipped into a tiny bit of Chapel Doors with the Shoto 00, just to add that depth to the very outer corner. And then Shoto 03 with Antique Frame, so we can blend out the edge. Alright, I just finished up this eye look, so now we can try out a blush. What are we thinking? I'm curious to see what Phantom Orchid looks like. Going in with a BK Beauty 112. Ooh. That's quite stunning, don't you guys think? It's so pigmented. I've just switched to a clean Rephr 05 just to see if we can blend this out a little bit better. I feel like this is quite pink. Is it just me? I can't tell. I think I want to add another shade. Let's go in with the shade Buried Letters with Nikki's N20. And let's just add that. Kind of just to the front. Wow, these blushes are so pigmented. I honestly barely touched my face with this. Alright, moving on to look number 2. Let's start off with the shade Flesh and Bone and an EO8 from Singe Beauty. Let's just put that at the brow bone area. I'm just using big windshield wiper motions, because we're going to use this as a transition shade. Now let's dip into Heart's Flame and a different Rephr 01. Starting at the outer corner, let's just push in some pigment. Oh, that's pretty. Wow. Let's gently blend it up into the crease area. Do any of you guys already have this palette? Look at how pretty that is. I'm into this. Wow. The blend is so easy. I'm using very little pressure. And everything is just working out so well, in my opinion. But look, this is already kind of an eye look by itself, right? To deepen up my outer corners, I'm debating between this one and this one. This one is Casket Wood and Crimson Devotion. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Crimson Devotion. Using Eyeshadow 00, let's push in some pigment. Ooh, yes. I think this was the right call. A gentle blend up into the crease area. Look at that. It's so pretty. Alright, now let's take some more of Flesh and Bone on another flat shader brush. And let's put that in the inner third. And I'm just using patting motions to really keep the pigment. Patting it in the empty space. Alright, for shimmer, let's go in with Golden Veil, and using just my finger, let's push it into the third of the eye. Oh wow, can you guys see that? How cool. Look at what that looks like on the eye, and this is what it looks like on my finger. What a cool shade. And let's pull it towards the center. That is so pretty. And then for the inner third, let's try Ethereal Light. I'm just gonna plop that right in the front. Wow, it's bright. Let's use a cleanish finger to try and soften that. And going back over where they meet with a little bit more of the Golden Veil. Just so there's not such a severe line of demarcation. Look at that. Alright, now that I've added the shimmer, I think I want an even deeper outer corner. So I'm going to go back in with the shade Chapel Tours in the same Eyeshadow 00. And I'm just going to push in. Yeah, like that. Push in the pigment closest to the lash line. I just dipped into Heart's Flame on a Refer 01 so I can softly, gently add some more of that orange pigment back to this look. Like that. Back again with the EO8 and some more of the Flesh and Bone shade, just to soften out the edges. And same thing on this side. Let's take some of the matte white, the Ghostly Whisper, for an underbrow highlight. And now on a 207 from BK Beauty, let's brighten up this inner corner. To finish up this eye look, let's go back in with the shade Heart's Flame and this old brush from MAC. It's so old the numbers came off of it, so I can't tell you what brush it is. We're just going to start at the outer corner and push in some pigment. Ooh. Gently pull it across. Going in with the Flesh and Bone shade, just to add it to the front, or the inner third of the lower lash line. Shoto 00 with the Chapel Doors, just to add this to the outer third, and EO8 with Flesh and Bone to blend out the edge. Alright, I just did finishing touches to this eye look, and now we can go in with blush. I really want to try this Seance Flame shade, and I'm just using a Rephr 05. Ooh, that's pretty. I love a good orange blush. What do you guys think? I'm into this shade. Okay, so there we have it. Here are the final looks for look number 1 and 2. Let me come in close to show you guys. In different lighting. I love how different each look is. Okay, I'll see you guys in a second for 2 more looks. Alright, now on to the Dead Cute palette, and I just wanted to take a second to point out how cute this cover art is. It's dead cute. For look number 1, let's start off with this awesome shade called Toxic Doll. Going in with a Shoto 03. And we're just putting this in the brow bone area. Again, I'm using the Shoto 03 because of its diffuse tips. Because especially for this area, I want it to be like a wash of color, not so heavily pigmented and packed in. Next, let's go in with Slime Time. I'm using a BK Beauty 205. And we're just going to push in some pigment in the outer corner. Wow, so vibrant, right? Let's take that across the lash line. And gently blend it into the crease. How fun. Let's bring the Slime Time shade a little closer to the center of the eye. Let's now go in with the shade Cryptic Cutie with an EO4 from Singe Beauty, and we're just gonna stamp in some pigment. Cool. And blending it up in the crease. Shoto 03 with more of the Toxic Doll shade. Now I'm just taking Toxic Doll on a Rephr 21 and putting it in the inner corner, inner third. And I'm just using patting motions because I want to push this pigment and keep the intensity. Push this pigment into the skin and keep the intensity. And then a gentle blend out at the edge. Let's fill in the empty space. I'm just going back to the Slime Time shade, the mid-tone green that we used, and bringing it in even closer to the center. Alright, now for shimmer, I really want to use this shade, Batty Baby, just going in with my finger. Let's put that at the third of the eye. It's kind of interesting, right? And then for the inner third, let's do Ghosty Glow. Now using my index finger, let's just plop that right in here. Ooh, what an interesting combo. Let's add some Cryptic Cutie back to the outside edge. Toxic Doll. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use the same Refer 21 to just pat in some more Toxic Doll just to the top edge. And then same thing to the outside edge. Lower lash line time. Let's go back in with the shade Cryptic Cutie. Using the EO4 from Singe Beauty, let's just push in some pigment. Switching to the Refer 21 with Toxic Doll. And Shoto 03 with Toxic Doll. I just finished up this eye look off camera, and now we can go in with some blush. I really want to try the shade Toffee Tart, and we're just going in with an F05 from Singe Beauty. Oh, that's pretty. What do you guys think? Nice and soft. For look number 2, let's try Dollhouse Doom and a Shoto 04. Okay, this shade is quite vibrant, so let's use just very light pressure. I think we'll leave it like that for now. And now let's add Ghoul Scout and an EO6 from Singe Beauty. Let's push this in at the outer corner. Wow, so vibrant. Gently pull it across. And then blend into the crease area. I felt like this was a little bit wide for this space, so I'm just going to switch to a clean EO1 from Singe Beauty and see if we can pull some of that blue through. Just dipped into some more. Shadow 04 with no added product. See if we can blend these two together a little bit better. Now let's try Cursed Halo on an EO5 from Singe Beauty. Let's just push in some pigment to the outer corner. And blend it up into the crease area. And now I'm taking some Dollhouse Doom just to add it in this empty space. Back to the EO5 with no added pigment. So we can blend this together, kind of. Let's try Ash Baby, just on Nikki's N24, and let's put that in the inner third. I'm adding some more of the Dollhouse Doom, just to bring it over a touch. I'm just using the N24 with no added pigment. See if we can blend out this corner. This third. I'm not really feeling this spot, so let's see what we can do. I don't know if it just needs to be blended out some more, or if we need to go back in with some Dollhouse Doom on a Shadow 04. I kind of like that better. Let's add some shimmer and see what kind of adjustments we need to make. Okay, let's start off with Haunted Plushie. And using just my finger, let's put that at the third of the eye. And then for the inner third, let's do Psycho Sweetie. Using my index finger now. Oh, look at that. Can you guys see the shift? Going back in with Ash Baby and Nikki's N24. Just to soften out the edge where the shimmer starts. And then back with Cursed Halo to re-intensify the outer corner. I've just switched to the E10 from Singe Beauty. Same shade, Cursed Halo, just because this brush is a little bit more dense. And I'm trying to go for just a touch more precision. I thought I was out of clean Shadow 00s, but I just found one. So this is what I'm going to use. I just dipped into a tiny bit of the Dollhouse Doom shade. With very little pressure. Because I want the purple to peek through at the top. Alright, time for the lower lash line. Let's go back in with the shade Cursed Halo, and just a flat shader brush, let's push in some pigment at the outer corner. I know we kind of lost that Ghoul Scout shade, but sometimes you just gotta try things out and roll with it. It's not quite what you're feeling. Ash Baby on Nikki's N24. Shadow 04 with a tiny bit of the Dollhouse Doom shade. Alright, time for blush. Let's try Lollipopette. And I'm just using a BK Beauty 112. That's quite pretty, don't you guys think? Even though these blushes are matte, there's a tiny bit of a sheen, right? Alright, here's look 3. And 4. As usual, I'm going to come in close. And different lighting. Honestly, I was a little bit iffy about this fourth look at first, but now with the lashes on and some eyeliner, I'm quite into it. I like it a lot better with the finishing touches on it. And this look is so bright and super fun. I'm also quite into the blushes. I'm super happy with both palettes. They have very different color stories. This one's a little bit more muted and grungy, and this one's super fun and vibrant. The mattes are super buttery, highly pigmented, and easy to blend out. With the exception of this outer corner, but it might not be a formula issue. It might just be because I was trying out a new eyeshadow primer, and I normally set my eye primer, but this time I didn't. So that could be what was going on in this corner that I was having a little bit of difficulty with. Of course, I would like to try out more looks, maybe using my Old Faithful MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, just to see if there's any difference or how it performs. But like I said, I've truly enjoyed both collections. I really wanted both eyeshadow palettes and blush palettes. I can't wait to play around with them some more because I really want to test out that pink shade in the Dead Cute palette. The reason why I didn't use it today is because I recently did a bunch of pink looks, and of the 4 looks I created today, I don't have a favorite. I think they're all different, fun, but as always, you guys let me know if you have a favorite. But now we've come to the end of this video. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I truly appreciate you all so much. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, or if it's nighttime for you, I hope you get a good night's rest. I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, ha, ha.